Hi, welcome to this wonderful webinar introduction, Effective Transformational Tools for the Great Awakening. It's a preview of our upcoming Spiritual Coaching and Healing with EFT program course. And we're going to share some very powerful tools. Jane Mountrose, my wonderful wife and partner here, uh, and give you a powerful demonstration as well. And in our last preview, we talked about the tale of two realities. Two realities. There's a reality where things seem very fixed, random. You're dependent on external authorities. And there's another reality, which we're going to be tapping into more today, is where it's fluid. It's in the flow. It's connecting with your soul and spiritual families, visible and invisible, and much more. And we here at Awakenings Institute, Jane and I, we're veteran trainers of holistic coaching and healing for many years. And we want to share with you a very powerful healing uh, comprehensive system that we've developed over the years called Spiritual Kinesiology. And we talked about that and many other things in our recent book, Awakening to Your Magnificence, back there on the bookshelf. And we specialize in developing tools to accelerate spiritual growth and clear deep blocks. And sometimes people come to us when they've tried many other things and nothing has really succeeded. Um, and we welcome everyone here, people who are watching the replay as well. And what this is about today is opening up to your full range of resources. Because in today's trying times, challenging times, you want to have all the resources and the ones that really work that are best for you for the role that you're here to play and really doing something meaningful in the world and have a bridge between these two realities, this more fixed, limited reality and a very expansive one that we're tapping into here today and going forward. So it's a great opportunity to explore this today, have a live demonstration, see how spiritual kinesiology can work on profound issues, healing, and also advance your spiritual growth. Um, and if you are interested in going further into the spiritual coaching and healing program coming up, we'll tell you about that as well. So Jane, let's go further into why the system works so well and people get so much out of it, the spiritual
Right. Yeah.
kinesiology.
Yeah. I think what you said about so many people coming and they're saying I tried everything and nothing works, and then they find something in our teachings that work. It really it's very fulfilling for us. And of course, I think all of us want to be uh, I guess successful. We want to be using tools that actually work. And in the big picture, looking at the time we're in, especially, but generally, I think we want answers to the big questions like who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? And that's always been a big thing for us, too, which is why I think we have pursued the healing and the coaching that we teach in such depth because we wanted to understand it better first for ourselves and then to be able to share it with others. As an overview, it's kind of like you wonder, well, why am I here? I think we're all here to live fully and grow. And that's a that's just a very
Right.
broad overview. But within that, we all have special gifts. We all are in certain stages of our development. We all are in a process of opening. Philip was mentioning the tale of two realities, where one is this place you could say kind of people wallowing around in the mud, and the other one is this lofty freedom that you feel like flying like an eagle almost. Um, so we're going to start today, as we often do, with a little bit of breathing and start where everything starts in the truth of who we are, because that's the first thing. And I notice that a lot with new clients, especially. They're confused. They don't know who they are. They don't know, because of that, how to move forward. Well, it all starts in the heart and soul. We could say the center of your being, where you could say the creator, God, however you want to describe it, the oneness. how your own guidance, your own wisdom speaks to you most clearly. So the first thing that we teach people, and that we also use ourselves to be in a balanced state, is to connect with that love. So I'm going to start just a very brief, what we call soul centering. You could call it heart centering, which, if you're comfortable and want to close your eyes, this would be a wonderful time for that. And just enjoying the breath. And one starting place is that we all deserve the very best of everything. So just breathe in the most amazing love, light, joy, peace, harmony, whatever it is that feels best to you. Just breathe that in. Beautiful, nurturing breaths for your whole body. And then as you exhale, letting go of anything that is not that, anything that feels heavy or dense, sending any energy that's not your own back where it came from, so you can just have your own space. And breathing, knowing you're surrounded by the light, by angels, guides, masters, beautiful beings who are here to support you. And with that, you might even want to place a hand on your heart, just breathing light into your heart and opening to the love that you hold there. Sometimes we wonder, well, how am I going to, what do I need to be able to focus on that love? Think of something simple that you love. Maybe a favorite pet, maybe your spouse, maybe you love looking at a rose. Just something that brings in that love, and feel that in your heart. And then allow that to radiate out into every cell of your body and all around you, with your own energy all around you. And of course, still with every breath, you can be exhaling and releasing. If you feel, you can just let go. And the wonderful thing about accessing your wisdom in your heart is, if you're in a loving state. And if you're not there yet, then you're not probably in the best state to be asking for your own inner wisdom and guidance. When you are there, then it comes through naturally. So that's a very simple kind of a short version of what we teach. And we recommend for people to do that every day, because the heart, that connection, and what is commonly now called heart coherence, is something that is developed over time, that strengthens with use, like any muscle. The heart is a muscle. It's also a brain. It's a brain that's even more complex than the brain we love in our in our heads, that we think is so valuable. The heart is a more complex brain, one that we're just starting to understand, I think, as a society. So with that, you can take another nice breath and open your eyes. And Philip, would you like to add anything to
Yeah,
that?
when we open up our heart, and it's always wonderful to do that because we easily can forget or get enmeshed in everyday external reality. The heart is not only heart coherence, and it helps your brain and your whole body function, it connects you with your soul. It is that gateway to the soul, the heart and soul. That's actually
Mm-hmm.
the name of our upcoming course, The Heart and Soul. Um,
Right.
so it's a natural transition to put you in a different place and a different reality, and it's a great place for healing and spiritual growth.
Right. Right. And it has been very meaningful to us personally when we were really started searching, and we've known each other for many years. uh, First in a group of it was a group where there was a leader who had the truth, and everybody else was supposed to follow the leader, basically understanding that you're nothing and you know nothing. And after a while we started to wonder, well, if that person has the truth, why can't we have the truth? So we left that organization and went off on our own, and searching, trying to find out how we could access our own truth.
Hmm.
And at that time, I don't know. I think it's much easier now than it was at that time.
Hmm.
It took us 5 years
Right.
to find something that was very tangible. Like I said, you know if you're in a loving place or not. Unconditional love is connectedness energetically. So it's connectedness, connected with your truth, connected with your ability to heal. It is that really a journey from fear to love. If you want to just summarize where we're starting in the mud, people in fear and anxiety and all of those things, we're moving from that to really the highest vibration of divine love. So it was very meaningful to us. We were also at a point in our lives, we had been working for 10 or 15 years at jobs at that point, and I actually got to the point, I was an architect and I felt like my soul was dying. What that didn't come from any any religion that I had learned. Um, it was just a feeling like the life was being drained from me. And it just wasn't working. I had to find a different way. And this is what we're talking about here, heart and soul. It's a whole different way of experiencing your life. So Philip was an educator, and he was in a similar place. We were kind of so low, I guess we also started exploring anything that we thought would help to heal, spiritual healing, which is where we actually learned the soul centering process that we use now, and many spiritual healing techniques. So we studied that for a while, hypnotherapy, like holistic hypnotherapy, NLP, all kinds of Reiki. So many people learn Reiki. And that to me, that really changed things for me when I realized that I could feel energy and I could actually shift energy. So that was really valuable. We spent some years learning, and then because Philip was a teacher, we naturally started teaching, and things have evolved in unimaginable ways, I guess, from where we were, to where we are now, where we then, when we were teaching, we started noticing over a period of years how our students were evolving, because uh, we ended up first teaching holistic hypnotherapy, and we had a course that was a year long. Sometimes people would be in it longer than that, and we noticed patterns in how people were changing. So with that, we developed our own sense of what the spiritual stages of development are, which was very interesting. We came up with 7 stages, and then just coincidentally, when we had it all developed. In fact, we wrote a book on it, and we had the book almost completely written. And when we realized, well, the stages correspond with the 7 chakras, and it was a huge validation that everything is connected, everything is holistic, everything has meaning, and it was really also very valuable for us to be able to help other people to understand where they were in those stages and what their next steps were. So that was something that became a main part of our training, and of course, very deep processes for healing. I think we developed a uniquely holistic and deeply spiritual approach to healing in our work. And um, without wanting to compare a lot, we and having taken a lot of courses and spoken with people who had taken a lot of courses, there are some frankly superficial approaches, and it always has been our desire to pursue things that actually work, that get to the heart of the matter, whatever the situation
Right.
is, and provide real solutions that people can use to change their lives. I did want to share a story. Did you want to say anything more about just all of that before I share
No,
this
go ahead.
story? Um, so recently I did the process that we're going to be demonstrating today, which is called spiritual kinesiology, with a client at a time when she was frustrated, feeling she was really missing something. She knew she was blocked and her life wasn't working. And she came to see me to find out if there was some way she could break through the barrier. It felt like she was stuck. And that's not uncommon, feeling stuck. Or I think something that is definitely common is people feeling confused. In looking at what's happening in society now, you can't help but feel confused, like, how do I deal with this? And so in this case, she had no idea what it was. And this is one of the places where this system really shines, spiritual kinesiology. So what you do first is you use kinesiology to identify where the issue is coming from. So there are a few different checklists we can use. I went through them and identified which checklist would be appropriate for her and her situation. And I got one that actually identifies where it is in the energy system. So the first thing I got was that it had to do with her inner vision. So it is how we perceive reality, how we perceive ourselves. And then the second layer of it that I got was that it had to do with her heart, which is loving herself. So it had to do with her picture of herself, what she was dealing with. So the issue I wrote is the way that she saw herself blocked, related to a distorted vision of herself, and as such, not loving herself. So wanting to understand more clearly what this is about, I took her on a guided journey to a mystical mountaintop. This is something we often do. It's very helpful to rise up, because rising up takes you to a higher place. So she could get a more expansive view of herself and her life. And looking out at the glory of the earth all around her, I asked her what this was about. And in response, a little voice in her said, "I'm not worthy." I asked why, and she said, "Because I'm not perfect." And this was a child. So we were connecting with a part of her from her childhood, and probably this situation had been going on ever since. So digging deeper, she estimated she was about 5 years old at the time, experiencing trauma in her home and suffering from constant fear of what might come next. Of course, I guess we have a lot of reasons to have that going on, just as things are. Anyhow, the only solution that that child could think of was that she had to be perfect so nothing could go wrong. But she couldn't figure out how that might be possible. So the child was just stuck believing that she wasn't worthy and having no solution for it. So with that, we were ready for the healing. We had the information we needed. And for those who are familiar with EFT, emotional freedom techniques, you go through a process with that. And the first one, once you've identified the issue, is to measure it. So we measured what came up as fear, and the fear was at a 9, and self-doubt. So, and it was obviously, she was feeling it in her heart and seeing it through her third eye, at a 9. So both were at a 9, pretty high, 9 out of 10. Saying this, she saw her childhood self dropping something, and she said it looked like a 4-leaf clover, which the child said wasn't doing any good. Nothing was doing any good. There's this real deep sense of hopelessness. So we did the process we call reframing and anchoring, or the apex technique, which is similar to EFT. It has its advantages. You can use EFT with this also. So we did that for the healing. And afterwards, she was smiling and saw herself on the mountaintop waving a victory flag, which was kind of cute, amazed at how much better she felt. The fear and self-doubt were gone. She knew then that what she could not have known as a child. And this is part of it. A lot of these things that come from our childhood, the child couldn't know, but we can. So that she is perfect where it counts. A wonderful spiritual being that she has value that she doesn't have to prove. So she could feel that, and she could feel a whole different sense of herself in her heart. Then she saw herself in the child as one, knowing that all was well. She understood it was a big shift, that shift could change her life, and she was frankly delighted, as I think we all are when all of a sudden we understand something that has been plaguing us for a long time without knowing what it is. And then it's like, well, it's so obvious too, in a way. But we don't know that. We the things that are unconscious, we don't know because they're unconscious. So that's the story, and it's an example of the beautiful results that can come from this whole system, and it can be in all different areas. That just happened to be that one, which is a pretty essential one too, how we perceive ourselves.
That's a beautiful story, and it's really wonderful to be able to help someone go deep within themselves. And the key there is connecting with the soul, as we're about to demonstrate. We'll be doing a demonstration here in a couple minutes. When you do that, everything changes because you have that beautiful, deep love and connection and sense of wisdom as you're going in your life and what your life plan is all about. And this was part of the learning and so forth. So it really is very transformational. That's a great
Mm-hmm.
story, Jane. So let's talk a little more as we go into our signature system, the spiritual kinesiology process. It's really more than a technique. It really has two branches, as I mentioned, and I'll go into about healing and accelerated spiritual growth. It's holistic, it's integrated. It's not a bunch of techniques, um, but it's focused on where you are now, not only for healing, but for your next step in your spiritual journey. And a lot of times, as we've been mentioning, people may get distracted, detoured, try things that are not that effective, um, sort of like spinning your wheels, hitting brick walls, to use some metaphors there. Um, and when you find tools, and it took Jane and I a lot of years actually to discover this and develop spiritual kinesiology, it's amazing how much time and energy it saves and how much it can quicken your pace going at the pace you want. And people who've taken our holistic coaching heart and soul course, they've had a lot of physical changes and success because as we learn these techniques and teach them and you process and get feedback, you're actually uh, experiencing them yourselves. In other words, you not only learn them, but you actually get the healing yourself. And this
Mm-hmm.
is meant for some people to eliminate back pain, um, allergies. I remember one of our students, Sharon, she was quite overweight. She lost, I think, about 45, 50 pounds in the course. She managed her diabetes and it lasted going forward. So it can save you a lot of time and money in health issues too.
Yeah, that's what I figure is with everything we've learned, and I'm sure Benita, who's here with us too, we realize, well, just imagine all the money that we're saving over our whole lives by
Hmm.
being able to address some of these things.
Yeah, and sometimes when I see people talk, they say, "Well, I have this terrible pain in my neck," and they have no idea why it is. And we know through the systems, the processes like we're about to demonstrate that we can get to the core of it. And it doesn't always work on physical things, although sometimes it does because everything is connected. Sometimes other things are needed. But
Right. But
spiritual
I
con
think with physical things, even
right.
I think that it might not actually change the physical condition, but it brings understanding that changes their perspective on it, which is huge,
Yeah, that's
actually.
tremendous relief and empowering in itself. And sometimes it does the healing too.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, the spiritual kinesiology, as I've mentioned, has two branches to it. The complete system for healing on all levels. So we connect the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And as you're doing that, and as we're connecting with the soul, as we're about to demonstrate with Bonita here, that's an awakening experience, and the different stages of spiritual activation are affected as you get more soul centered. That affects your spiritual progress and where you're functioning from and where you're operating from every day. So they
Right.
come together for these different parts of the spiritual kinesiology process for evolving, healing, and awakening.
Right.
So to start to describe spiritual kinesiology, what is it? Kinesiology, as you may know, means muscle testing, another word for it, where your body on an unconscious level is responding or really reacting to things positively or negatively all the time, physical things, emotional things, mental things. And if you can test that, then you can start to figure out the sources of things. By the way, just a side note, when we do spiritual kinesiology and we do teach how to do kinesiology in depth in our course, that actually is even a wonderful, versatile tool, but it's optional. So you could do this process without even the muscle testing itself. But we are
If
going
you
to,
know the issue, right? So,
yeah. But
yeah.
let's go a little bit into just kind of show you, get a sense of the kinesiology muscle testing. Uh, and when you clear the blocks, this can be as effective as the EFT tapping for many of you know who know this, and it can mix and match with it as well. Jane, you want to mention anything about what just the spiritual kinesiology, learning this system, why it's important?
Well, I think you covered a lot of the a lot of the bases. It can accelerate your growth and your joy of life, with the understanding the spiritual the stages. If you know what is needed for you to complete a stage, in other words, what to work on, then you can move through more quickly. So it and also you have that sense of understanding of what's happening, and that is reassuring, just like, oh, okay, so I know these steps are here, and this is where I am now. I'm going to take my next step, and then that will broaden it. Every step broadens our perspective on who we are and what's possible for us. So it's all just a wonderful experience of life.
Right. And that inner child story that Jane shared, the helping the lady uh, with her sense of self-worth and getting over perfectionism, that can be part of the stages, and that there's subtle refinements of it as you go forward as an example of that. So
Right.
going back to kinesiology, there are many, many ways to do kinesiology. We teach a variety of them. I'll just do one today and just touch on that, and that's sometimes called the body sway. So things that you like, you lean into, you're interested in. Things that you don't like are repelled, you lean away. So you can get a sense of leaning in or falling back. And that's a kind of muscle testing, and that's coming in
And
your
it's more
body.
than just liking,
Yeah.
feeling drawn to or
Drawn to it.
feeling
Yeah.
compatible with,
Yeah.
depending on what it is.
Right. And just to give you an example, they sometimes we do a baseline test. So if you say your name, I say my name, Philip, that gives me I'm moving forward. That makes sense to me. That feels right. If I say my name is Josephine, I kind of get confused and back off like, what? I don't understand that. And
Right.
that's just a baseline because you can objectively verify that. And to go further, imagine something which makes you angry or disturbed, something that you don't like, something that's irritable to you. Uh, and, it might be a chore you have to do, or a person, something, a remark you heard. Uh, and you notice that it's just kind of, you're backing off from it. It's almost like a bad smell. You just kind of pull away. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be like a negative reading. It would weaken you, as sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
called
Right.
in, in,
Yeah.
in muscle testing terminology.
Yeah.
And
Well, you can feel it too. Like
yeah,
if you imagine feeling anxious or whatever, just saying the word, anxiety, fear, loss, whatever, it's like I can feel my body, the energy sinking. And Philip is going to turn that around now.
so turning it around, if you think of even positive words, joy, love, compassion, optimism, and it kind of puts a smile on your face and you're leaning forward, or just something that you love doing, something that's very wonderful for you, inspiring. And again, you're moving forward now. Uh, and that's something that gives you a sense of how your body is reacting. And it may be not only your rational mind thinking about it, it's actually in your body. And that's what you're testing via the deep testing
Mm-hmm.
and muscle
Yeah.
testing.
Like testing if something's compatible with you energetically. Like I have this heart. Is this compatible with me energetically? And I can very quickly feel that my body's moving
Hmm.
forward.
Yeah. So
Would
when you
stabbing me with this pen be conducive to my life? And no.
yeah. So and there's so many things, physical things, testing foods, uh, uh, testing situations, and so forth. And we have checklists, and we're going to go into them that opens up what the muscle test and how to, and you can get very detailed, pinpointed things about what the problem is
Mm-hmm.
once you do it. I remember one lady I was muscle testing, and in her lower back, there was something weakened in her lower back, and she quickly went into realizing her sister didn't support her, and we did a process on that. She just quickly rose from the unconscious. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so going into demonstrating now the muscle testing with the what we call reframing and anchoring, or the apex process, is the basic healing process. Um, so this is a wonderful system and an introduction today, of course, of something we teach in depth in the course, but we want to give you a taste of it and how it can heal and accelerate healing in sometimes pretty miraculous ways. Uh, Jane, are we ready to embark on a demonstration here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and so Bonita was kind enough to volunteer. She's one of our graduates who also is a very successful practitioner herself. Um, and so if you look at these turbulent times and all the discomfort we have with what's going on in the world, I think just about all of us feel like it would be useful to find out a little more how we're feeling about things. Does that make sense to you, Bonita?
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah, well, I don't need to talk. We could go into that for a while. Um, and it's interesting because holding on, if we hold on to those things that are troubling us, it's draining our energy. Like I was saying, fear, anxiety, whatever it is. And when you don't know what it is, that's extremely frustrating in itself. So finding out where that came from, I think is a real gift. I think when we were developing the spiritual kinesiology system, that was one of the things that really drew me to it because sometimes I could feel, and I still do have times when I feel something's not right here and I'm stuck. It's not working. Um, and I don't know what it is. And we referred to the unconscious before too. The unconscious is so unconscious, it's unconscious. And I think all of us think, well, gee, I've gotten past that surely by now. And then the next thing comes up. so, 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 Bonita, would you like to say anything else before I test to find out where there's a block that we might be able to release for you?
It's just always interesting the things that are hiding.
Right. It is. And one thing about that, I'm glad you mentioned it, is especially at the beginning, we think we're going to find something bad about ourselves. Like we're afraid to look
Hmm.
often because we think, well, whoa, no, I don't want to see. But it's never that. The illusion and what we're into in society is that there's something wrong with us. And the truth is that, well, if you look at that example, from the client just that I mentioned, the we think there's something wrong when actually everything is right. we just don't know it. And that's what we're learning is what's right about us. So I'm just going to go ahead. I have actually a choice of 3 checklists here. One of them is the one that I ended up using with that client, which identifies where it is in your energy system. Another one is, and we call that current lessons checklist. Then we have the basic checklist, which identifies different areas of life, your inner world and your outer world that might be affecting you. Like if you focus on, for some people, it might be something having to do with their age. that's bothering them. There are just so many different things. So I'm going to just use kinesiology here to identify which of these checklists. The other one is called the deepening checklist. So to identify which of these three, and
So Jane is figuring out what to
I'm just
how to proceed.
testing on this checklist.
So she's doing her own testing to find out where to go with Bonita. That's what's happening right now. These checklists, which we've came up with, are very effective to determine where to go.
Right. And this is just, it's, as was in the example earlier, it just clues. Like it's something having to do with something that, and then it would be Bonita would tell me if there's anything there or not related to that. So what I'm getting with it is that there's something related to your expression, your ability to express yourself, where you feel your power is not coming through, or where it seems like the power that's available is not coming through. Does that make any sense or relate to anything?
Yeah, because I just found a place that I needed to work, and what came up was being unable to assert one's will.
Oh
So
boy. Okay, that's exact.
haven't done it yet. Apparently, I was waiting for you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep, there you go.
So, and that is in relation to
Oh, probably a lot of different areas.
just in well, the fifth chakra has to do with communicating in your, and I
Right.
know you're like us, you're a communicator. So could it have to do with communication?
Oh, sure, because I'm sure I could communicate better or more succinctly.
Okay.
And,
Anything,
and and to
any,
who I communicate with.
mm-hmm. And I don't know if that relates to anything in the outer world, or if you feel like that's more internal to you, or I know these are turbulent times, and sometimes it's like we feel powerless against all of the forces that are outside of us.
Yeah, and then it affects what you say and to who you say it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I might not be expressing my full self.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering,
So,
Bonita, if there's a particular situation or particular something you're thinking about, you said about exerting your will, expressing yourself. Is there something that's coming to mind specific to that?
Just putting myself out in the world,
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
opening up my world as far as business and clients and my reach, and
Mm-hmm.
not holding myself back because of fear of this turbulence coming into my
Mm-hmm.
person, into my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how strong is that fear?
I'd say it's an 8
Mm-hmm. And where do you feel that in your body?
in my gut.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we're talking solar plexus,
Yeah, it's
which
like
is what, yeah,
inches.
right. Yeah. And what you're experiencing there is tightness. What is it?
Yeah,
What does it feel like?
tightness,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety,
Mm-hmm. Anxious about
whatever.
about life.
Yeah,
Okay, so how strong is that tightness and anxiety?
I'd say the tightness is a 7. Anxiety, probably a 7 also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else coming to mind? Anything that you're noticing?
Yeah, I have a fence up in front of me.
To protect yourself?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, from things coming
Mm-hmm.
in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting because I hadn't noticed that before.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Not that it's wonderful that you noticed it. Not that it's there. But these are the things, that's what we want, is to to be able to bring it out into the open where we can address it. Because if it's not in the open, then it's just hiding somewhere and it doesn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
I think people try to, it's like you have a piece of trash and they try to throw it behind themselves as if it's going to disappear. But it doesn't.
Right.
There's a trash collector inside you that collects it and saves it, saves it for
Mhm.
later. Yeah. Okay. So I think Philip was going to, if that's okay
Okay.
with you,
Yeah.
work with you with the healing.
Sure.
So there was that fear of getting out there, that something may happen if you get out there. Do you have any sense of the concern, what might happen? And a lot of this is sort of an imagination, but there can be drawn from other, previous early experiences or past lives.
Well, yes, I believe it's related to my dad.
Yes.
Um, so um, I found out that I don't see how I want to say this. He didn't want himself exposed because he had done something that hurt
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
And I see that I picked that up as a fear
Hmm.
of being exposed.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So your
Mm-hmm.
father had this protective thing about, something he would get, have some kind of negative consequence if
Well, it
people.
did. He was found out after 10 years,
Okay.
and I can see that his personal world kind of crashed until he could, find his footing, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is so much the truth. The things that, like, maybe for his life and what he was learning, that was one thing, but you as a young innocent child picking up all this stuff, then you have it and you didn't do anything to have to be afraid of exposure. At least
Well,
that's one level to it.
right. But I wasn't even born at the time it happened, but I was
Right.
born kind of right after that.
Yeah, you picked up his energy though, and his
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
yeah, makes
Mm-hmm.
And it
total
only
sense.
took me 20 years to realize that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wonder, but that's the way we are. So that's why this is so powerful to get clear on this. And then, like we're about to do, clear it with the reframing and anchoring from your soul. So you mentioned several emotions. We go with the strongest. You mentioned fear. Was that the strongest emotion you're feeling, or you mentioned being anxious also? And
I'm going to say that oh gosh, they're really t closely related.
mhm.
I'm going to go with anxiety is the strongest.
Okay, 1 out of 10, 10 highest. What would you give it?
A 7.
Okay, all right. So, and you were feeling that, did you say in your solar plexus? Is that where?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the reframing, we're going to reframe, as this process is called, and anchor it, and then go to we call it also the apex process, because you go to a high transcendent place that we're about to do. And since Bonita has taken our trainings, she has different soul connections. We teach different ways to do it. Uh, I'll just ask her, since I know she already knows this, and practices it, what is the way you like to soul connect, or would like to do that now?
I think that just the mountaintop.
Going to a higher place, transcendent
Mhm.
place. Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine yourself rising up to a beautiful mountaintop as your body relaxes more and more, and you connect to this mountaintop. And maybe you've been there before, maybe it looks new today. Maybe there's some of the beautiful sights and sounds and feelings all around, and resources, maybe support networks, higher beings, your soul is there. And as you get more and more connected to your soulful mountaintop, Bonita, can you share what that's like for you today?
Well, I'm up above the mountaintop.
Okay,
I'm
that
on
sounds good.
like a platform in the cosmos, like a
Wow. Okay.
circular platform in the cosmos.
Okay. And what's it like being there?
It's very peaceful.
Yes.
It's dark. I can see
Hmm.
stars.
Hmm. And there is a resource there for you to help that part of you that feels very anxious. So what would be a good resource to bring from that beautiful cosmic platform with all the peace and stars and everything?
A star is falling down into my hands.
Yes,
It just feels like love and kindness.
yes. Okay. So that wonderful star, would you like to share that energy with the star from that soulful place to that part that has been feeling anxious?
Yes.
You can send her that starful, soulful energy in the right way for you now, and let me know when that happens and what's occurring.
I'm holding it to my heart,
Mm-hmm.
and that love is just filling my body and her body, that little girl
Mm-hmm.
that grew up
Mm-hmm.
with all of that and
Yes.
didn't know it.
How old is the girl?
3.
Wow. Okay. How's she receiving all this?
She's clutching the star as well and just smiling
Yeah.
like it's a teddy bear.
Beautiful. Okay. Knowing that you're there with her, do you want to share a message, or is there a soulful message there for her?
I just tell her that we turned out okay,
Mm-hmm.
that we have great things to do,
Mm-hmm.
and that she's loved.
Yes.
And I
Uh,
just had a flash of royal blue in my inner sight, which is usually to me means that spirit's around.
mm-hmm. How's she doing now?
She seems very peaceful and content.
Great. Okay. So we'll call this a moment of closure here, and knowing you can always return and continue the dialogue and go forward, helping your beautiful little inner child there and using the peace and all that star energy for you. It's all there for you. And I'll
The
count.
energy is really strong.
Yes, it is. I can
Good.
feel it too. Great. Ready to come back. 1, 2, I'll count you up to 5. 3, removing anything you don't want. 4, returning when you do want. And 5, remembering this as you come back, feeling very peaceful with the great things you're here to do and all the love.
Wow,
I was going to ask, how does that feel now?
feels really good. That energy was so strong.
Yes, it was.
Wow. Wow. I say wow.
That was a wow. And and,
Right.
and just quickly, and maybe Jane wants to follow up with just a that was the healing part, and we teach coaching and healing because you need the two. You need both the feminine and masculine to be fully effective. Um, that idea of being unable to exert your will, you talked about that earlier.
Mhm. Mhm.
Have you
How do you
noticed
feel about that now?
how's that occurring now, right?
It feels like a good start and just something that I need to, I want to say process, but it's not process. It's that action step of taking it,
Right.
Hmm.
of putting my will out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
That's
is a
Yeah.
process, yeah, and it takes time, and that's why these things, although they're very profound and can have life-changing shifts, sometimes as like this might be, and we experience a lot in our classes. Um, there's a lot to these things, and they have a lot of connections.
Right. And it is, we clear things and then we have to integrate them. But if just out of curiosity, the fear was at an 8 before, where is that now?
probably a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a little more to process further when there's time. You may want to follow up on that. but because of our time
Well,
today.
and we can do something with that probably too very quickly. But the anxiety was 7. Where is that now?
That's gone.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And the tightness in your solar plexus?
Probably a 1.
Mm-hmm. And the wall or the fence?
The fence.
Well, there's a gate. There's a gate now.
There's a gate
Fence
now.
became a gate. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful transformation.
So I
Do you
guess
want to go through it?
I guess it's my
You
choice.
might
So
as well.
Yeah, it's open.
So,
I flung it open and we're walking down a new path.
who's we?
Me and my 3-year-old.
Uh-huh. So how's
Yeah.
that for her walking down a new path?
She's skipping.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think, when the inner child is healed, she can become even like a teacher.
Mhm.
Because when we have that childlike wonder, if you see yourself moving forward with her, just how does that feel for you with just your experience of life?
It feels joyful
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to have that
Wonderful.
innocence, but to know what you know.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the combination of the two is it's like a marriage made in heaven kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So where's the fear now? Just out of curiosity.
1,
Mm-hmm. Right. So very little.
very
And if
little.
you wanted, I mean, if you want, we could do a quick floor to ceiling eye roll.
Sure.
And we use that often. It's from EFT. You start by tapping here so she can tap and with her head straight ahead, and then just starting with her gaze at the floor, gradually raising your gaze up to the ceiling, just slowly. And then when you get there, nice breath, and you can stop tapping and let me know what you sense with that now, with the fear.
It has been replaced by hope and excitement.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
Wonderful.
That's a beautiful transformation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think you have a great image of yourself walking with that child, and all the magic and joy and
yeah,
skipping. You don't have to skip if you don't want, but
yeah,
or you can.
I
yeah,
don't think I could skip for long, but
Right.
yeah,
She can skip circles around you.
yes, she could.
yeah. Yeah, thanks
So
for
does
Bonita for volunteering. That was great.
Well,
does that
thank you
feel
very much.
complete?
Yeah, it feels great. Thank you,
Good.
Jane.
Yeah, that
Wonderful.
was beautiful.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
thanks. And that's why it's so wonderful when we have the Heart and Soul coaching classes. There's practice labs and people practice like Bonita did, but the practice is more than just, seeing how the technique works. It actually can be very impactful, even life-changing. And so where do you go from here? Of course, really, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much to explore, and it's really
Right.
fascinating. And our Heart and Soul of Coaching and Healing course, I'll show you a little graphic of that, is coming up June 9th. And get it so it looks a little better there. And it's part of our Coaching and Healing with EFT certification program. And it's a fun program, and you get to know a small group of people, a wonderful spiritual community. And Jane and I, of course, are here with you as part of that spiritual community. And let me give you people really enjoy the course, and they write to us often afterwards how much it meant to them. And here's an example of one of our graduates, Jen Peters. I spent 2 years searching for these courses. I knew I was looking for something, but wasn't sure what until I came across them. It has helped me enormously and in unexpected ways. It provides structure to an area that is traditionally quite ethereal and difficult to put into meaningful processes. I don't know of any other courses even remotely like these with the scope they have. The program has literally ignited the light within. It's for anyone who's seeking a deeper understanding of who we really are and what we're here to do. These courses are the bridge into the bigger picture for those who have an awareness that there's more to life than meets the eye. And the kind of people who take the program are just generally people who are spiritually minded, who want to go deeper into their purpose and their life and more meaning. And then some people want to start a practice, a holistic practice, or enhance a practice, or they may be in a business where learning these tools can be used in different ways in their career as well. Jane, did you want to mention something here about the upcoming holistic coaching and healing course, Heart and Soul?
Well, one of the interesting things about it for us is, as we've mentioned, these things have evolved over time and continue to evolve with these really transformational times that we see as the Great Awakening. We have new tools and new strategies that we're adding to the ones that we've been using, and I think that things continue to happen more quickly. I think that what Bonita just experienced, and of course she has some some understanding of healing too, but wouldn't you say that things are moving faster? Energy's moving through faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And of
and
course higher. I thought that was interesting. You were up above the mountaintop. The higher we go, the more powerful we are in being able to clear and to heal.
mhm,
So yeah, it's a great time for that. We look at what we're shown on the news when actually there's so much more to be seen.
mhm. And Bonita, since you have graduated from the holistic coaching and healing course, do you want to mention what it was like for you? Or
Well, I think this course was changed my view of myself as a coach. Um, this wasn't the first coaching program I had taken, but this was the one that really gave me the tools, as your example there, Jen said that it gave her structure. It was a structure because sometimes you don't know where the client needs to go. And so this gave us a map, things we could do, things we could find that we needed to work on that they didn't even know were there, just like you did with me. Um, and also, um, it it gave me the tools to actually shift the energy instead of just discussing something.
mhm,
And that was the
Mm-hmm.
huge missing part to, I think, all of these coaching programs is we don't know how to facilitate that change. And so then the energy starts to process. And I know that there's a healing period in there, transformation period, but it makes all the difference.
right. So it's not just learning techniques, it's actually integrating them in yourself and your own internal change and more soulful awareness, and then you can help
Mm-hmm.
other people
Yeah.
Absolutely.
more
Right.
deeply. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in getting close to closing here, if you are looking at this program coming up June 9th, there are quite a few benefits of taking it we've touched on. You're going to create a more fulfilling life, I believe, knowing things like spiritual kinesiology and just the experience of having a spiritual community. We mentioned a lifetime savings in personal health, all the things you can heal in yourself just by practicing what you learn. Some people want to enhance their career or start a new business or holistic practice. Not everyone. Some people, everyone pretty much does want accelerated spiritual development who takes the course. And you're going to learn tested tools, uh, holistic EFT, spiritual kinesiology, hypnotherapy, NLP, and more. And we mentioned the loving, supportive community you'll be part of. And it begins June 9th. The online coaching and healing certification with EFT. The courses are 4 months. They're 3 courses. And the next one is the heart and soul um, of coaching and healing, followed by a course called Life Purpose. They're each 4 months. And the third is manifesting your dreams. So we found that these courses are really key areas, themes that you can go deep into, and you can take 1, 2, or 3 courses. We encourage you to take all 3 courses, but you could start out with 1. So in closing here, for the Heart and Soul of Coaching and Healing course coming up June 9th, you can find out more. You may already be on the webpage if you're watching this replay. The shortened URL is tinyurl.com/HOL coach, and there's a long URL below it. There you can schedule a free planning session, talk to us about personalized payment plans to work this out if it's something you want to do, and we can help you with that. As if it's part of your dreams and goals, there's a way to make this happen, and it'll be a wonderful choice. If you do that, Jane, did you want to mention something further as we're about to close?
Well, one of the things that surprised me, I think people understand that we've been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
After being an architect, I've mentioned for 10 or 15 years, I was burned out. We've been doing this for considerably longer than that, and it just keeps getting more exciting.
Yes.
It's kind of, and I think Bonita would agree, there's no end to the opportunities that are there and the growth that is there, and I find that very enlivening myself. What do you think about that, Bonita?
Oh, absolutely. It's like eating a bag of potato chips. You just can't stop.
Right. So if you're leaning in this direction, if your heart's saying, yes, this is a good time to take action because enrollment's closing soon, and we'd love to welcome you into this year's program. It'll be fun. It'll be a transformational experience. And thanks, Bonita.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
very
Bonita.
much.
Great being with you.
Bye.